Ladies, listen carefully. The problem is not him. The problem is you giving him too much power over your mind, emotions, and self-worth. He ignores you and you get restless. He stops texting and your heart starts racing. He pulls away and suddenly your world crumbles. Why? Because you have placed your happiness in someone else's hands. And let me tell you a secret. The moment you do that, you lose. Now, you may ask, should I block him? Should I beg for his attention? No. You do something far more powerful. The real problem isn't him. It's giving him too much power over your emotions. Let that sink in. You think it's about him. You think it's about the way he stopped texting, the way he grew distant, the way he no longer looks at you the same. But it was never about him. It was always about you, about how much control you unknowingly handed over, about how much of your peace, your joy, your confidence you tied to his responses, his moods, his choices. And now, when he pulls away, you feel like a puppet, strings in his hands, waiting for him to decide if you should feel love or abandoned, beautiful or invisible, worthy or forgotten. But tell me this, who gave him the right to decide who you are? Since when did a man's attention become the mirror in which you see yourself? Since when did his approval become the oxygen you need to breathe? Look at yourself. Look at the way you hesitate, the way you overthink every message, the way you lower your standards just to be chosen. Chosen by who? Someone who doesn't even value what you bring to the table. You sit there checking your phone, heart pounding when his name doesn't pop up. You rehearse conversations in your mind, wondering what you did wrong, wondering why he changed. And every time he ignores you, you shrink a little more. You shrink into someone who forgot her worth. But tell me, who were you before he came along? Who were you before his attention became your drug? Weren't you whole? Weren't you unstoppable? But now look at yourself. Look at how you made him the center of your universe. Look at how you've reduced your existence to waiting for a text, for a call, for a sign that you still matter. Let me wake you up. You were never meant to live like this. You were never meant to hand over your power to someone who doesn't even know what to do with it. You were never meant to beg for crumbs when you are the whole feast. But I get it. I get why you feel this way. Society has trained you, conditioned you, told you since you were a child that your worth is in being wanted, that being chosen by a man is some kind of trophy, that love is about holding on even when it's destroying you. But let me tell you something. Real love doesn't feel like this. Real love doesn't leave you questioning yourself. Real love doesn't make you feel like you are hard to love. And more importantly, your worth is not something a man can give or take away. Your worth is not up for debate. It is not something that increases when he texts back and decreases when he does. It is not something that shines only when someone else notices it. It's time to wake up. It's time to take back the power you gave away so easily. Because the truth is, he didn't take your power. You handed it to him. Every time you overanalyze his behavior, every time you sit in self-doubt, every time you chase after someone who isn't meeting you halfway, you are the one keeping yourself in pain. But the moment you decide that your peace is more important than his presence, the moment you realize that your value is not dependent on his validation, everything changes. He doesn't define you. His attention doesn't complete you. And his absence does not make you any less. So why are you suffering? Why are you making him the god of your emotions? Why are you giving so much of yourself to someone who isn't even thinking twice? Because let me tell you something mind-blowing. The second you stop chasing, the second you reclaim your power, the second you remember who you are, the entire game changes. Not just with him, but with life itself. You are not here to be an option. You are not here to be someone's afterthought. You are not here to be controlled by anyone else's actions. The moment you stop letting him dictate your emotions, you will see the truth. He was never in control. It was always you. Always. Happiness should never depend on someone else's actions. Yet look at what you've done. You've placed your joy, your peace, your self-worth in the hands of someone who can't even decide what he wants for dinner. You've made your emotions a puppet, tied to the strings of his behavior. If he texts you, the sun shines. If he ignores you, the clouds gather. If he shows interest, your heart races. If he pulls away, you crumble. But tell me, when did you sign up for this? When did you decide that your happiness was something he had the right to control? Did you wake up one day and say, "Here, take my emotions, take my self-esteem, take my peace of mind, do whatever you want with them"? No, you didn't. But that's exactly what you've done. And the worst part, you don't even realize it. You think you're just in love. You think you're just caring, just invested, just giving your all. But what you're really doing is gambling your happiness on someone else's mood swings. Look at yourself. Look at the way you wait. Or you wait. Love can heal. Love can cure you up. Love can heal you up. Love can cure you up. Love can protect you, developed, unused, deserted, unloved. Look at yourself. Look at the way you wait for his response. As if a single notification can decide whether today will be a good day. Look at how your stomach twists when you see him online, but he doesn't text you. Look at how you overthink his every word, as if decoding his messages will give you the validation you seek. And for what? For a moment of happiness that vanishes the second he disappoints you again? This is not happiness. This is addiction. You've made his actions your drug. A hit of attention and you feel on top of the world. But the second he withdraws, you crash. And now you're left restless, insecure, empty. Not because you are empty, but because you've been feeding on the wrong source. True happiness doesn't come from being chosen. It doesn't come from being noticed, from being texted back, from being someone's favorite today and forgotten tomorrow. That's not happiness. That's dependency. And dependency is dangerous. Because when you depend on someone else to make you feel good, you give them the power to break you. And people, no matter how much they claim to love you, will always fail you at some point. Not because they're bad, but because they're human. So why are you handing over something as precious as your happiness to someone who doesn't even know what to do with it? You need to understand this. Happiness is an inside job. It is something you create, something you build, something you guard with everything you have. And the day you realize this, the day you take back what was always yours, you become untouchable. Imagine waking up and feeling whole, not because someone loves you, but because you love yourself. Imagine going through your day unshaken by his silence, unbothered by his mood swings, unfazed by his mixed signals. Not because you don't care, but because you've stopped outsourcing your happiness to someone else. Imagine the power in that. Because here's the truth. The less you rely on him for your happiness, the more powerful you become. The less you wait, the less you chase, the less you let his actions dictate your emotions, the more attractive, more magnetic, more unstoppable you become. Not just to him, but to life itself. Blocking or begging is not the answer. It only lowers your value. But look at you. Your fingers are itching to block him, aren't they? To erase his number, to remove every trace of him, to make it seem like he never existed in your world. Or maybe you're on the other side, typing, deleting, retyping, overthinking, debating whether you should just send one last message. Maybe if you explain, he'll understand. Maybe if you beg, he'll stay. Maybe if you just try harder, he'll see your worth. But let me ask you, why are you making this about him? Do you really think blocking him will heal you? Do you really think cutting him off will magically erase the feelings you have? No, because blocking doesn't solve the real problem. The real problem is that he still has a hold on your mind, whether he's on your phone or not. The real problem is that you still believe that his absence is something you need to punish him with, rather than something you should embrace for your own peace. And begging, let's be honest. Have you ever seen a queen beg? Have you ever seen a woman of true power and grace plead for someone to love her? Have you ever seen a force of nature ask for scraps when she is the whole damn feast? No. Because begging strips you of your power. It makes you small. It turns you into someone who forgets her own worth in an attempt to remind someone else of it. And that's the saddest part, isn't it? The fact that you already know this deep inside. You know that if he wanted to be here, he would be. You know that love isn't something you have to convince someone to give you. You know that the more you chase, the faster he runs. Yet, here you are, still believing that one more message, one more explanation, one more desperate attempt will change everything. But let me tell you something. No one respects desperation. When you beg, you tell him that he is the prize and you are the contestant. When you plead, you confirm to him that he has the power and you are just waiting for his mercy. When you try to convince someone to stay, you tell them that they are worth more than you. But is that true? Is he really more valuable than you? Is he really a king while you stand there like a peasant waiting to be chosen? No. The truth is, he is just a man who made his choice. A man who isn't seeing your worth, and that is not your loss, it is his. So stop. Stop blocking as a way to get a reaction. Stop begging as a way to hold on to something that is already slipping away. Stop thinking that if you just say the right thing, do the right thing, become the right thing, he will suddenly wake up and love you the way you deserve. Because the person who truly deserves your love, your energy, your time, will never put you in a position where you feel the need to beg for it. And the second you realize that, the second you walk away with your dignity intact, instead of throwing it at his feet, the world will shift in your favor. Detachment is the ultimate power. Rise above the situation. Look at yourself. Look at the way you are drowning in this emotional storm. Your mind is spinning in circles, replaying every moment, every word, every silence. You analyze his texts like they hold some secret code. You try to figure out what changed, what went wrong, what you could have done differently. But the more you chase these answers, the deeper you sink. And for what? For someone who is already at peace while you suffer? For someone who sleeps soundly while your mind is a battlefield? What if I told you that freedom is just one decision away? That right now, in this very moment, you have the power to cut the chains that are holding you captive. You don't need to beg. You don't need to block. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to detach. But detachment isn't about walking away in anger. It isn't about punishing him with silence or pretending you don't care. Detachment is transcendence. It is understanding that you don't need to control this situation to win. The reason you suffer is because you are clinging. Clinging to what was, clinging to what could have been, clinging to the fantasy of who you thought he was. But attachment is like holding onto a burning rope. The tighter you hold, the more pain you feel. And yet you still won't let go. Why? Because deep down you are afraid. Afraid that if you let go, you will lose something valuable. Afraid that if you stop caring, it means you never truly loved him. Afraid that if you walk away, you will regret it. But let me ask you, what exactly are you afraid of losing? A man who isn't choosing you? A situation that is keeping you in emotional turmoil? A love that requires you to shrink yourself just to keep it alive? You are not losing anything, you are gaining yourself back. But detachment takes courage. It takes absolute trust in yourself. It takes the wisdom to understand that what is meant for you will never require you to suffer for it. It takes the strength to stop gripping onto dead weight and allow the universe to remove what is no longer serving you. And here's the truth. When you detach, you become powerful. Because the second you stop waiting, the second you stop expecting, the second you stop needing him to act a certain way to feel at peace, you win. You win because you are no longer controlled by his actions. You win because his silence no longer shakes you. You win because whether he stays or goes, you are whole. Do you understand how rare that is? To be a woman who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't need external validation to feel worthy. That kind of energy is irresistible. It is untouchable. It is the kind of energy that makes people wonder, what does she have that is so powerful? And the answer is simple. You have yourself. And the moment you truly understand that, the game changes forever. Your energy is your greatest asset. Invest it wisely. Every single day you wake up with a limited amount of energy. It's like money in your bank account. How you choose to spend it will determine whether you thrive or stay stuck in the same cycle of emotional exhaustion. But look at what you're doing. Look at where your energy is going. Scrolling through old conversations, looking for clues, rereading messages that were never enough, stalking his social media, trying to piece together a story from posts and likes, overthinking, replaying, analyzing, torturing yourself over someone who isn't even thinking about you. And the worst part, you know it's draining you. You feel it. Every time you lose yourself in this emotional mess, your spirit feels heavier, your mind feels foggy, your heart feels exhausted, and yet you keep pouring your energy into someone who isn't pouring anything back. But tell me, if you had $1,000 to spend every day, would you waste it on something that brings you pain? Would you throw it away on things that give you nothing in return? No, you wouldn't. So why do you do it with your energy? Because that's what your attention is. It's currency. And right now you are spending it recklessly. You are investing it in someone who isn't giving you any returns. You are funding your own heartbreak. You are bankrupting yourself emotionally. Pouring everything you have into something that is giving you nothing but stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. But here's the thing. You are not powerless. You can redirect your energy at any moment. You can choose right now to stop over-investing in something that is draining you and start putting that energy back where it belongs. On yourself. Imagine if all the time and effort you wasted on him were used for your growth. Imagine if you took back that energy and poured it into your passions, your health, your mind, your future. Imagine what kind of life you could create if you stopped chasing validation from someone who isn't even aware of your value. Because let's be honest, your energy is powerful, it is magnetic, it is rare, and the right person will recognize that without you having to convince. The right person will never leave you wondering. The right person will see your worth without you having to prove a damn thing. But you will never attract what you truly deserve if you are wasting your energy on what is beneath you. So stop. Stop feeding a situation that is keeping you small. Stop handing over your power like it's cheap. Stop making him the center of your universe when you should be the center of your own life. Because the moment you shift where your energy goes, the moment you invest in yourself instead of someone who doesn't value you, everything changes. And the best part, he will feel it. He will sense it. He will notice the shift. Because when a woman stops overgiving, stops overinvesting, stops waiting, stops chasing, she becomes untouchable. And that, my dear, is the most powerful thing you can ever be. Confidence is silent. Insecurity is loud. Look at the way you are reacting. The overthinking, the anxiety, the constant need for reassurance. The way you keep looking at your phone, waiting, hoping, needing something from him, a message, a sign, a little proof that you still matter, that you still exist in his world. But tell me, why do you need proof? Why do you need someone else to confirm your worth? Do you think the sun waits for permission to shine? Do you think the ocean needs validation to roar? Do you think the moon asks, am I enough, before it lights up the night? No, because power doesn't beg. Greatness doesn't ask for approval. And confidence? Confidence does not scream for attention. It owns the room in silence. But what are you doing? You are making yourself loud in all the wrong ways. You are reacting, over-explaining, justifying, trying so hard to prove your worth to someone who isn't even paying attention. And the more you do it, the more you lose. Because the truth is, the loudest person in the room is always the weakest. When you keep trying to prove yourself, when you keep chasing, when you keep showing up for someone who refuses to show up for you, You don't look valuable. You look desperate. And desperation is the fastest way to make someone lose interest. But a woman who is confident, she doesn't need to announce it. She doesn't need to prove it. She doesn't need to chase, convince, or beg. She simply exists in her power, knowing that if someone doesn't see her worth, that's their loss, not hers. Do you know why confident people are so attractive? Because they don't seek validation. They radiate it. They don't chase love, they become love. They don't need to scream for attention because their energy demands it without a single word. But here you are, making noise where silence would be more powerful. You are sending another message when you should be unbothered. You are over-explaining when you should have walked away. You are reacting when you should be so rooted in yourself that nothing can shake you. Because confidence is not about having all the answers. It's about knowing that you don't need them. Confidence is not about making sure they like you. It's about liking yourself enough that it doesn't matter. Confidence is not loud, it is calm, unshaken, and untouchable. So stop. Stop reacting, stop seeking, stop making someone else the center of your universe, when you should be the one they orbit around. Because the moment you embrace silence, the moment you stop chasing, the moment you become so secure in yourself that nothing shakes you, you become the most powerful person in the room. And trust me, that's when everything shifts in your favor. The moment you stop caring, they start noticing. Look at the cycle you're trapped in. The constant need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be chosen. You send a message. You wait. You check your phone. You wait. You wonder if they're thinking about you. You wait. And what happens? Nothing. They don't respond. They don't notice. They don't care. At least not the way you want them to. And that's where the suffering begins, doesn't it? That's where the anxiety, the self-doubt, the overthinking take over. Because in your mind, their silence means something. It must. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe they found someone better. Maybe you did something wrong. But what if I told you that their silence isn't about you? It's about them. What if I told you that your desperation to be seen is the very thing making you invisible? Because that's how the universe works. The more you chase, the faster they run. The more you beg for love, the less attractive you become. The more you obsess over someone who is barely giving you attention, the more they pull away. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. And right now, your energy is screaming, please choose me, please see me, please make me feel like I matter. But let me tell you something. You should never have to convince someone of your worth. The truth is, people don't value what they think they can always have. They don't cherish what is too available. They don't crave what is constantly being offered. And the more you show them that you are always there, waiting, hoping, needing them, the more they take you for granted. But the moment you stop, the moment you shift your energy away from them, the moment you stop needing them to respond, to care, to show up the way you want them to, that's when they start noticing. Because suddenly, your energy isn't feeding them anymore. Suddenly, you're not giving them the satisfaction of knowing that you're waiting. Suddenly, you are unavailable, distant, detached. And that, my dear, is what flips the game. Because people don't realize what they had until it's gone. They don't notice the warmth until it turns cold. They don't appreciate attention until it disappears. And the best part, you won't even care by then. Because when you truly stop caring, not as a game, not as a strategy, but because you genuinely understand your worth, that's when everything shifts. That's when they start checking their phone, wondering where you went. That's when they start craving the energy you used to give so freely. That's when they start thinking, wait, why isn't she chasing anymore? And that's when the power is back in your hands. Not because you played a game, not because you manipulated them, but because you finally understood that your energy is a gift and not everyone deserves access to it. The moment you stop caring about whether they notice you, whether they choose you, whether they respond to you, that's the moment they start realizing just how much of you they took for granted. And by then, it's their loss, not yours. Silence is the loudest response. There you are, thinking of the perfect words to say, trying to craft the perfect message that will make him understand, that will make him miss you, that will make him feel something. You type, delete, type again. Maybe if you explain yourself better, maybe if you pour your heart out, maybe if you just make him see how much this is affecting you, maybe then he'll care. Maybe then he'll come back. But let me tell you something. No words will ever wake up someone who chooses to be blind to your worth. You think your words have power, but it's not words that shake a person. It's absence. It's the emptiness where you used to be. It's the silence where your voice once filled the space. It's the realization that the energy they once took for granted is no longer there. Because words can be ignored. Messages can be left unread. Calls can be declined. But silence is something the mind cannot escape. Silence is a mirror that forces them to look at themselves. Silence is a void that makes them question, where did she go? Why isn't she trying anymore? You see, people expect reactions. They expect you to cry, to beg, to fight, to prove. They expect you to hold on even when they let go. And the moment you do exactly what they expect, you lose. Because in their mind, they have you. They know that no matter what they do, you'll always be there, always trying, always waiting. But silence? Silence disrupts the pattern. Silence makes them uncomfortable. Silence forces them to feel the weight of your absence. Because suddenly, you're not there to soothe their ego. You're not there to give them the validation they're used to. You're not there to remind them that no matter how they treat you, you'll always fight for them. And that's when the real shift happens. That's when they start to wonder. That's when they start to feel that itch, that unease, that strange emptiness they can't quite explain. That's when they start questioning, wait, did I lose her? Is she really gone? Because silence speaks louder than any words ever could. It says, I don't need to explain myself to you. It says, I don't beg for anyone's love. It says, I know my worth and I refuse to waste another second proving it to someone who doesn't see it. And that kind of silence, it's powerful, it's rare, it's unforgettable. So don't waste your breath on someone who has already shown you who they are. Don't lower yourself to arguments that lead nowhere. Don't try to convince someone to care when they should have cared on their own. Because the strongest thing you can do is say nothing at all. The most powerful response is simply removing yourself. Without anger, without explanations, without a single word. And trust me, they will hear your silence louder than they ever heard your words. When you focus on yourself, they come back. Right now your mind is stuck on them. Every thought circles back to what they're doing, who they're with, why they're acting this way. You go about your day, but they live in the back of your head, rent-free. Even when you try to distract yourself, they still creep in, like a ghost haunting your every move. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why? Why are you giving so much energy to someone who has already made their decision? Why are you making them the main character of a story that is meant to be about you? Because here's the truth. The more you obsess over them, the less they think about you. That's how energy works. The person who is most invested, most emotional, most attached, that person loses power. And right now that's you. But what happens when you shift? What happens when you wake up one day and say, enough? Enough waiting, enough checking your phone. Enough letting their absence define your worth. Enough putting your life on hold for someone who isn't putting you first. The moment you stop feeding them your energy, something shifts. The moment
Let's stay connected, stay positive, and grow together. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Stay safe, stay inspired, and see you in the next video.